let's talk about a game that's probably ruined my productivity more times than I'd like to admit. If you haven't played it, think of Battlefield, but with low-poly stick figures, chaotic ragdoll physics, and zero multiplayer sweats that are just yelling at you for missing a headshot. So Ravenfield is the peak of indie brilliance, and today I'm going to break down why I think it's one of the most perfect indie games out there. From its accessibility to its thriving modding community, this game is basically a masterclass in how to make a small game feel absolutely massive. Let's dive in. First up, accessibility. This game is incredibly easy to just pick up and play, and from the moment you boot up the game, there is zero fluff. No convoluted tutorials, no 45-minute story cutscenes that make you question your life decisions. You just hit play, pick a map, and start blasting. And the controls are intuitive, even for someone whose gaming skills peaks during Run 2 on Cool Math. So the game doesn't punish you for experimenting either. You want to throw yourself off a cliff just to see how the ragdoll physics react? Go for it. Want to charge an enemy tank with nothing but a wrench? You'll probably die, but it's hilarious. And how about changing up the team size or maximum vehicles on a map? Well, it's all up to the players, so you can do whatever you want. And what's even better is that Ravenfield runs on pretty much any computer. You don't need a rig that costs more than your car. It'll just happily chug along on whatever you got. And that's the beauty of this low-poly art style and its plethora of advanced match settings like the team count. And from an indie dev perspective, accessibility is key to reaching a wide audience. Ravenfield shows that you don't need flashy graphics or complex systems to make something enjoyable. Instead, focus on creating mechanics that are easy to grasp and able to be molded into whatever the user cooks up in their imagination. Indie developers often work with limited resources, so making a game less resource-intensive not only takes some weight off of the developer, but it also broadens your potential player base. Accessibility doesn't just make your game playable, it makes it sellable. Now, the modding scene is so alive and thriving that it feels like the players are essentially unofficial co-developers. You've got everything from custom maps and weapons to full-blown overhauls to make the game feel completely different. Do you want to fight zombies, aliens, dinosaurs? Yeah, whatever, the modding community has got you covered. Want to recreate historic battles or just go full sci-fi? Well, yeah, there's a lot of mods for that too. It's like the game's unofficial motto is, if you can imagine it, somebody's probably already made it. I've spent hours on end creating my own personal paintball game modes, or game modes where my team rushes the beaches of Normandy, and the mods breathe new life into the experience of this game. Just combine that with the low poly art style, which somehow makes everything look charmingly goofy, no matter how wild the mod is, and you've got endless reasons to keep coming back. And can we talk about how easy it is to install mods? If you've got Steam Workshop, it's literally a one-click process. Compare that to some games where installing mods feels like trying to disarm a bomb, and you'll appreciate how straightforward Ravenfield makes it. For indie developers, embracing the Steam Workshop can often extend the life of the game, with the community entirely. It allows players to customize their experience, and it just builds loyalty and keeps the game relevant for years after the release. This game was made in 2016. From a development standpoint, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just give players the tools to expand the game themselves. And this brings me to the developer Johan Hassel, aka Steel Raven 7. And this dude is a freaking rock star. Steel Raven 7's transparency throughout the game's development has been pretty amazing. He keeps the community in the loop with regular updates, patch notes, and posts about what he's working on next. It's clear he's not just making a game, he's actually fostering a relationship with the people who play it. You don't get that level of care with any of the AAA studios, where updates sometimes feel more like, we heard you hated this feature, so we made it worse. One of the coolest things about Steel Raven 7's approach is how he's embraced the modding community instead of just trying to compete with it. Some developers see modders as a threat or a nuisance, but Steel Raven 7 clearly understands that mods are what elevate Ravenfield from great to legendary. It's this open, transparent approach that's built such a fan base around the game. And I know that Steel Raven has needed a break from time to time too, and that is necessary in every industry. But when you build such a large connection with your community, you can essentially take these breaks and they will keep pushing out updates in the forms of mods, just like I mentioned with the workshop creations. So when you're not backed by a huge marketing budget, your relationship with your player base becomes your greatest asset. Whether it's sharing progress, listening to feedback, and showing that you care, all of that can make a difference in just building trust and loyalty. So there you have it. This is exactly why I think Ravenfield is the perfect indie game, just because it nails the fundamentals and then some. It's accessible, endlessly replayable, and backed by a developer who actually seems to care. Plus, it's proof that you don't need photorealistic graphics or Hollywood-level storytelling to just make a game that sticks with people. All you need is solid gameplay, sense of humor, and a community that feels like they're part of the journey. If you haven't played Ravenfield yet, I strongly recommend. Just go pick it up on Steam. I think it's like $17.99. Install whatever mods you feel like, or don't, and then do it later, or just don't at all, whatever. Just prepare to lose track of time. And if you're already a fan, just let us know in the comments, what's your favorite map? What's your favorite mod? Or any other weird stuff that you guys have had fun doing. So, thanks for watching.